just checking in on my phone so I can see who's here. But go ahead and say hey. If you're watching. If you're watching, say hey. Okay, let me get some tissues here. My nose is running this morning. Good morning. How is everybody feeling today? I just had, we just got back from a retreat yesterday, and so it was my first night in my bed without Jerry ever. Like since we've been together, and I slept horribly. It was so sad and also kind of sweet. It was like, oh, buddy, where are you? Where's my man? And also just like, last night was his first night of darkness. He's at a darkness retreat. So just sending him lots of love. And apparently I'm going to be emotional about it. Really so proud of him. Oh my gosh, going 6 days and 7 nights in complete darkness on solitary. I mean, that's some powerful stuff. So today we are going to be doing some shadow aspect archetypal work. Oh, another card deck wants to play. So while I grab these card decks, just take a couple of breaths. Because we are in the middle of eclipse season. Last Thursday, we had a solar eclipse in Aries. Whoa! Fire, power, war. And then next Thursday, not this Thursday, next Thursday, we'll have a lunar eclipse in Scorpio. Deep dark water. So really interesting combination. Solar eclipses are a really powerful time to, let's see. Oh, Mama Bunny says hi. Hi, Mama Bunny. Eclipses are not moon, like new and full moons that are eclipses, not times to manifest. Bad idea. Just a warning. They are times to observe what is showing up for you, because an eclipse is a shadow, right? When the sun and the earth and the moon all pass a certain way, and either the moon gets cut off from light from the sun because the earth is in between, or the sun gets cut off from light from the moon because the moon is in between the earth and the sun. Either way, it's shadow. And it is mystery, and it is these darker aspects of us that for some reason this human culture believes as bad or evil or wrong or something to obliterate. Which it's really not. And this is something that I've been really practicing this year. My card, or my phrase for this year, my intention is to embrace every experience. Really just like, okay, bring it in. I'm open to receive it all and try to find the good in all of it. And our shadow, like, when I'm standing here and the light is on me, there's a shadow that is cast. There is dark as part of us. We are dark. We are yin and yang. And that yin is actually the feminine side. So I find this really fascinating that there's this cultural belief that dark is bad, and yin, feminine, is that dark energy. And this is like the witches got burned for practicing the dark arts, which was just because it had to go underground, right? Because it wasn't deemed as holy, because only man had access to God, because Jesus was God and Jesus was a man. However, in this book, Mary Magdalene Revealed, 10 out of 10 recommend, by the way. She talks about this beautiful feminist who spoke and said, Jesus came through a woman and was son of God. Man had nothing to do with him. Like, interesting. So Yes, it's really interesting that we have kind of deemed these dark parts of us as bad and unworthy. And it's the feminine. It's that place of no thing where everything is possible because there's nothing there. So anything is possible. It is this beautiful place of complete possibilities. It's a complete dissolution of the ego, because when you're in darkness, there is no, I can't see you, you can't see me, I can't see me. It's just like, it's just nothing and everything all at the same time. It is really, really beautiful. So learning to get comfortable with shadow work. Shadow work doesn't have to be scary. Shadow work doesn't have to be hard. Shadow work can be really, really beautiful. Last night, when I was lying in bed doing a meditation, I wish I could remember the exact thing I was figuring out, but it was like this dark figure showed up for me, like almost like a shadow figure, but the shadow was made of sand. And so it could morph and shift and move. And for a second, I was like, oh my gosh, should I be scared? Right? This part of me is like, oh my gosh, this is evil and scary. Oh my gosh, should I be scared? And I was like, no, I have these shadow parts and I'm asking for this shadow part to be healed and nurtured. So of course the shadow aspect is going to show up to do that nurturing and healing. It just felt like it just like made so much sense. And it was like, oh, thank you. Thank you for knowing what to do. And thank you for showing up. So, that's why I wanted to work on this today, because we're in the midst of the eclipse season, shadow season for 2 weeks. There'll be another one in the autumn. There'll be an eclipse in Taurus and Libra. So air and earth. So we get fire and water in spring, and then in the fall we're going to get air and earth shadows. So it's really beautiful how we go through these cycles of, okay, now we're cleansing with fire and water at this season. So what is these things? Fire is agitation, irritation, and water is submersion. It is the depths. It is purifying and cleansing. So is fire, right? The refiner's fire. So just notice if you feel like you're drowning, or if you feel like you're just like, oh, I'm fucking fire right now. And just go, okay, all right, this is what the eclipse season is showing me. This is the shadow that needs to be transformed and shown a little bit of love and compassion. It's okay, I'm human. It's okay, I'm not supposed to be perfect. I came here to experience it all. And the very first, so this is actual Mary Magdalene's gospel that was decreed to be destroyed in the 2nd century or second or fourth, I don't remember. All copies of it destroyed, but some monks actually hid them instead. And they've since then recovered 3 of her manuscripts, of her actual manuscripts of when she walked with side by side Jesus. She was the first female apostle, and these are her manuscripts that she wrote. The first 6 pages of all 3 copies are missing, and there are 4 pages in the middle, the same, all missing from all 3 manuscripts that have been found. But the very first passage that I read in this just like totally lit me up. I am the first and the last. I am she who is honored and she who is scorned. I am the whore and the holy woman. I am the wife and the virgin. I am the bride and the bridegroom. I am she, the Lord. And what I love so much about this book is that Mary Magdalene, she overcomes these 7 demons, right? And if you're familiar with the Bible story, they like did an exorcism and released these 7 demons from her. But as we read in her gospel and her perspective, it's actually these demons are her 7 powers, like superpowers almost, like her being human. And it's not something that was like this, demons be gone, and like now she's saved and she's free. This is something that she practices every day, overcoming these human qualities. And it is this beautiful ritual and practice and like sacred sacrament for her to overcome these human qualities every day. These demons, so-called demons, that are just part of who we are. I am the Madonna and the whore. I am honored and scorned. I am the first and the last. We are everything. And that, like, it's like the yin and the yang, right? It's not, I'm not just the yin, I'm not just the darkness. I am also the light. I am all both here in this magnificent, beautiful incarnated human form. So just take a moment to, like, maybe wrap your arms around yourself and just give yourself a hug for all the times that you've beat yourself up and told yourself your human part was gross and messy and not okay. And that you need to be better and do better, and you need to be more spiritual or more religious or more holy or more whatever, and less of whatever. Like, let's just take a moment to just, like, have this compassion for ourselves that, like, you can't have one without the other. You really can't. You can't have light without dark. You can't have dark without light. You can't have good without bad. You can't have up without down. Like, you just can't. They exist simultaneously. It's just the opposite side of the same coin. You can't. Like the chakras, right? I always talk about the liberating path is the path from natural man, the root, up towards divinity, our crown, like this divine sovereignty. That's the liberating path. This is the way, like, okay, help me escape these 7 demons of being human. But then guess what? There's a manifesting channel. There's a channel that comes down from heaven to earth to manifest these beautiful inspirations in Spirit Nation into 3D reality. You can't have one without the other. Like, we can't exist without being human, and our spirit we are both. It's not this, like, I remember the quote in, like, junior high just really filling me up, because I felt lost, and I felt homesick, and I felt like I was missing something, and I didn't know what it was. And, like, the quote that, like, was, you're not a human being having a spiritual experience, you're a spiritual being having a human experience. And I remember that quote just like, that's why I feel homesick, because I miss home. I miss wherever my spirit came from. And I remember leaders being a little worried about me, like, are you gonna, like, do something about that? Like, and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna kill myself. I'm not suicidal. Like, I do enjoy the earth and having fun here on this planet. This body is really fun to explore. But there was just something that I felt was missing. And it was that, like, homesick for my spirit. And now it's yes, and it's not, you're not this, you're this. It's, I am this and that. I am a human being having a spiritual spirit experience, and I am a spiritual being having a human experience. I am both. Yes, and they are both so necessary for our evolution, to evolving. That's what we came here to do: evolve, learn, grow. Yes, I have. Yes, very much. This book about Mary Magdalene being the Savior's wife. This is a really, really beautiful book on that. Loved this one. This one's all about sex magic, sex alchemy, yeah. So I'm just going to leave that one there. I do love this one. So, and that they have a daughter, Sarah, and that's the real Holy Grail, is the bloodline, not a gold cup chalice. But I also believe that we are the Holy Grail. We are the Ark of the Covenant. It's in here, searching for our own, not something outside of us. And that's what this Mary Magdalene's gospel talks about: finding the truth that exists within you. Jesus didn't say, worship me. He said, no, I did this, so can you. Where is that passage? Be on guard so that no one deceives you by saying, look over here or look over there, for the child of humanity exists within you. Follow it. Those who search for it will find it. And I love how it says the child of true humanity. I mean, that's why I love doing inner child work. It's like, that pure innocence that exists within you. Oh, and like you make a mistake and you're like, whoopsie, as a kid. It's like you fall down and you get back up. Well, let's try that again. But for some reason, as adults, we're like, we can't make mistakes. We got to be perfect for some reason. Okay, I digress. Oh, I'm glad you know who said that quote. I don't know if I could say his name. It looks French. Pierre. Child, such a huge symbol of alchemy. Yes, it is the whole point. Oh, it is so beautiful. So I felt today like I wanted to take a moment to see what archetypal energy we need to help carry us through this eclipse shadow season. What do we need to help us feel that grace, that compassion, that love for our humanness, our messiness? Because it's shadow season. You guys, shadow is human. Shadow is messy. Shadow can be dark and gross and hard. It doesn't have to be, though. It doesn't have to be. So that's what I wanted to do the card reading today for. We're going to do 3 cards. Okay. And the cards don't really have any particular position. These are just the cards I felt called to and the energy. So take a moment. Place a hand on your heart and a hand on your belly, or maybe your womb. Men, yes, you have a womb space too. That womb of no thing, that space where everything begins, that empty vessel. And just start to focus on your breathing. Taking a moment to call in a circle of light, a circle of safety around you. Creating this sacred space where we call in and open up to the highest good. The highest good, especially as we call in this dark energy. And to work with this dark energy, we want to be surrounded by a light. To keep it in this beautiful container. Just one thing. What is one thing that you have been struggling with, that you have felt really agitated and irritated, aggressive, aggro about lately? Or that you feel like you've just been swamped, that you've just been drowning, that you just can't grasp for enough air. It's just like, you just feel this pressure in your body or this burning in your body. What is that one thing that is showing up for you? It is very likely, don't try too hard. It's very likely it's already right in front of you. It's like looking for your glasses and they're on top of your head. You've already got them. They're already right. It's already right there. Don't overthink it. And when you've got it, state it out loud. Honor it. State it out loud. For me, it's been resistance. I have been going through serious resistance. Resisting and control. Resistance and control. They kind of go hand in hand for me. And if you would like to type them and share them, because how many of you guys have struggled with resistance or control? Like, it's so funny because I'm like, here I am talking about shadow, and I almost am like, don't make them type it. But I want you to own it. Like, I'm human. Guess what? I struggle with these things. And I know you guys have struggled with these things. And so when we share them, it kind of we think like, oh, I'm the only one. Don't tell anybody because how embarrassing. I should be better than this. Oh. And that's a lie. That's a lie. It's a total bald-faced lie. You are not alone. I remember being at the Byron Katie's mental health New Year's cleanse. And she was walking someone through the Judge Your Neighbor worksheet. And we got to a question and she's like, okay, honey, now read this question, read this statement out loud. And she was just like, I can't. I'm so ashamed of this. I'm so embarrassed that I've had this thought. There's no way I can read this out loud. And sweet Byron Katie in all her grandmotherly crone, wise woman ways just says, okay, it's time. And so she reads it out loud. And you can just feel the like shame pouring out of her, just like this like total, like if she could just like open up the earth and be swallowed by it, she would have been. You can just feel it from her, but also like from me personally, just like this total compassion for her. Like, oh, honey, I know how you feel. I knew how she felt. And sweet Byron Katie takes a big breath. And she turns to everybody in the audience. There's about 500 people there. And she says, is there anyone in this room, by raise of hands, who has never had that thought? Crickets. Not a single person raises their hands. Looking around, and it's just like, I had that thought. Every single person in that room had that thought. There are no new thoughts. And so when we get brave and vulnerable, vulnerability is a superpower, people. When we become so vulnerable and own who we are, I've really been resisting because I want to control. I've been resisting surrender because I want to control, to feel safe. Because like safe is a thing, like you can be safe. So when I let go, when I say, hey, I have struggled with this, and you guys go, oh, me too. It brings power to this energy. And now it takes some of its power away from me. And other people have struggled with it because, oh, all of a sudden I'm not so alone. I don't have to carry this whole burden by myself. It's a collective thing. And then also when I claim it and I own it and I share it, and then I do the work on it, it helps other people that are struggling with it as well. It's a collective thing. Okay, anxiety. Yes, that is definitely a collective thing. Anxiety. Okay, so if you've got your thing and you want to type it in the chat box, which I would encourage you to do, be vulnerable, embrace it. That's your superpower. And it also will take some of the power. Like, oh, let's see. I'm assuming that was Britta. It was, because Britta's super vulnerable. I love it. So Britta, I would love to know, just by stating that out loud and claiming it in the chat box, did it ease some of the anxiety? So as you're thinking of that thing, that shadow aspect that has been really bothering you lately, maybe it's the fiery, agitated, irritated, burning, aggro energy, or it's this deep, dark, submerged, drowning, grasping, floundering energy. Own it. Own it. Let's what archetypes do we need that are going to help us navigate this shadow season? Oh my God. Yes. Okay. Oh, I love it. And then this is nope, not pulling that one yet. Okay. So, okay. Yes. So for Britta, just claiming it, owning it, and sharing it vulnerably with the world, whoever's watching this anyway, it helped lighten it for her. Okay. The first card. I also found out that this deck was written by the same author as this book. I found out this weekend. I was reading in the book and she talks about her oracle deck, and I was like, what oracle deck? And I was like, oh, I have that one. Yes. And I love it. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. It was actually this sign, the symbol on the back, that really drew me in, because it's like this beautiful portal. I call it a pussy portal. The pussy portal is powerful. And it's like this portal that like literally every human being came through that exists on this planet had to come through this portal. Okay, so the first goddess archetype that we need to help us through the shadow that I'm just giggling about is Lilith. Where are you? Did I not get the right page? There, no. Oh, I did get the wrong page. Oop-a-doo. Okay, Lilith. the first woman. I am the voice of my body and soul. Which we've been talking about, right? The yin and the yang, the light and the dark. Body, soul, light, dark. I choose the life that I desire to live. Lilith embodies our sovereignty to declare our desires and do what must be done in order to live them out. According to Jewish folklore, Lilith was Adam's first wife. She was created from the same earth as Adam, so when he expected her to be subservient to him, she refused. Lilith explained to Adam that they were equal, made by God. So when Adam insisted again on her submission, Lilith uttered the divine names and flew away. Supposedly, Adam sent angels after her to force her to return, but she was with the archangel Samael, and she desired to remain with him. I'm not super versed in the archangels. I apologize. So if anyone knows Samael. Anyway, ancient Jewish midrash, or retellings of biblical stories, portray Lilith as a demon. But contemporary feminist theologians like Judith Plaskow have incorporated women's experience and women's voices into traditional texts with their own midrash. Plaskow transforms the fearsome, vilified Lilith into a wise, empowered woman. Lilith embodies the emotional and spiritual aspects of our unconscious and unrealized desires, sensuality, and unbridled sexuality. Ooh. I mean, this is like total Scorpio energy right here. She owns her body and soul completely. For many women, Lilith is an icon of freedom. Lilith is the first woman. She is the woman who refused to be dominated or defined by anyone or anything outside of her. When your soul selects her card, Lilith asks, what would happen if you left everything behind? I mean, this is totally aligning with my resistance of control. This week, I had a nice long car road trip to St. George to pick up drums for the retreat. And I had a come to Jesus talk with myself and my guides. Like, okay, we got to figure out this resistance. It's really driving me crazy, this control thing. And I stated some things. I shared this in my Sharecast on Marco Polo, and you could find the link below on this page somewhere. I can post in the chat if anyone wants. So I share a little bit more in depth on what my Come to Jesus chat was about. One of the things they told me to do is clean out my office, all the things that I'm no longer using to make space for what's coming. And I did a quick sweep before the retreat because we did an energy exchange at the retreat. Like, bring your stuff you're no longer using and just trade with people if you want. It's like, take it if you need it. And if you don't, and if you're done using it, bring it. And other people might love it. I came home and did a deeper sweep. And now my bookshelf is pretty empty. I really was like, oh my gosh, I'm literally getting rid of everything. I'm literally almost everything. What would happen if you left everything behind? She wonders what prevents you from getting to experience all that you desire. Is it you? Is it an idea of someone you have to be? I gotta be better. I should. Is it society's definition of what it means to be a woman? Oh my gosh, at the retreat this weekend, it was so funny. I was having a conversation with a woman and she was asking about something that had a specific date. And I was like, I don't know. I honestly don't know. And I had this moment where I started to say, oh, I'm just horrible with dates and times, addresses, money, not anything with numbers. I've just always really struggled with. And Jerry will even be like, careful what you're saying, because you're just making it so. But as I was having this conversation with her, and I'm in this space of really trying to just be like vulnerable me, like authentic, true me. And I have this notion, this belief that society, as a society, we should care about dates and numbers and money and addresses and stuff like that. Like we should. I should. Like this is a standard that I have placed on myself and a belief that I have had based on the society I live in. I can't like point fingers at anyone because it's my own belief that I've held forever. And so I caught myself in my head, and even I've said it out loud. And I wanted to say I'm horrible with this, but as I'm like really trying to catch myself, I caught myself and went, you know what? I just don't care. I literally just don't care. Oh, I don't care about dates. I don't care about numbers. I don't care about time. It's daytime. Guys, it's daytime and it's today. It's right now. I don't know what day it is. It's Monday. I do know that. But what date it is, I couldn't tell you. Last Thursday was the new moon in 2 Thursdays, not this one. The next one's going to be a full moon. I couldn't tell you what day that is. I don't know. Cinco de Mayo, maybe. That rings a bell just because I've been reading stuff like, ooh, Cinco de Mayo is going to be lit for Rose because it's going to be an eclipse. I don't know. But I just don't care. I just don't care. It was so freeing to just admit that and let go of this cultural belief that I've been holding onto and holding against myself. I know myself. I've been with myself for 42 years now. And no matter how many times I've tried to care and tried to figure out and tried to hold on to these things, my brain would rather have space for other things. I just don't care. And it was so freeing to let that go and admit it. Oh my gosh, to another person that could potentially judge me because I should care, according to the society that I believe says we should care. Done with that. Is an idea of someone you have to be, or society's definition of what it means to be woman. Lilith asks the questions that sometimes never fully reach the light of consciousness. Lilith is unclaimed. She is the ruler of her body and soul, and reminds us that we are too. And not only that, we have a sacred obligation to be the body's fierce protector. And I want to add to this, not only fierce protector, but fierce nurturer. We have to love ourselves so unconditionally because no one else can. Yet. Until we really, this is my belief, no one can truly unconditionally love another being until they unconditionally love themselves. You can only love another person, another being, to the extent you fully love yourself. And we place conditions on ourselves all the time. I love that I'm wearing a heart today. It just feels like, so yummy. So we have to not only protect ourselves, we also have to love ourselves. Because we also are the only ones who know exactly how we want to be loved and when we want to be loved and why we want to be loved and in what ways we want to be loved. We're the only ones. We're the only ones that know that, really know that. If I were entirely equal to everyone else, to every man, to every angel, what would I choose for my life? Oh. If I were truly equal to every being, how would I live my life? If I saw myself as equal to a mosquito as I did to the Savior, how would I show up? I love when cards ask questions and don't just tell me, like give me something to chew on. I mean, this is cards, coffee, and contemplation. Let's contemplate these things. If I see myself as worthy, as the first woman ever created by the divine, what more would I ask for? Am I living the life I desire? Oh, not the one I think I should want. That's a whole bag of stuff that may open some shadow shit for you. But am I really living the life that I want? Not the one I think I'm expected to want. I don't believe that to be true anymore. I love hard. It's another saying that they came up with to tell me I'm wrong about love. Oh, that's a very interesting contemplation. It's a very interesting contemplation. The reason I believe that I can't love another being, I can only love another being to the extent I love myself, is because I also believe that I created my reality. I created you, and I created that and this and that. Like I created everything, and everything is a direct reflection and mirror of me, how I think and how I feel. So when I see something in someone else and I judge, because I'm human, I judge, you guys. And I'm like, ooh, why would they do that? It's so gross, or that's so dumb, or blah. Then I go, ooh, and if I catch it, when I catch it, I can find that within me. Oh, yeah, because that's a part of me that I don't like, that I'm trying to like, pretend doesn't exist. They brought it up in me. So that's why that's why I believe that way. I feel like when I don't love me, I can't accept other people's love very well because I feel unworthy. That's a very, very beautiful way of saying that. Okay. And I love that there's different perspectives because, oh my God, that's so beautiful that you believe that way. And then I get to look at that and go, I wonder how it would feel if I believed that way. Could I see that? And could I see the truth in that? And I can see the truth in that. So, and then I get to choose which truth am I going to live by? Which one feels better for me? Right? So it's all choices. Really beautiful. I love when there's conversation too. Okay. Am I actually fulfilled sexually in my current relationship? Ooh, I love Lilith. Like the first female creation of God talks about sex. What? Oh my God, I'm crazy. But I mean, we are the portal through which all life comes through the act of sex. Why is it so shameful to talk about? Why is it so dirty? Why is it hidden and pushed down and like, oh, shame. The Madonna whore complex, hello, it's legit, it's real. Okay. Are there aspects of my sexuality I haven't been able to face and voice? Oh, there's a lot of shame. There's a lot of collective shame in our sacral chakra and around our sexuality. Lilith refuses to settle. She answered all these questions within her and took action on the truth she uncovered. Lilith demanded that she meet with what she really desired. And she's here to demand that we all do the same. Oh my gosh, demand it. Can you imagine? How would it feel to I'm going to stand up. What did she say? Let me. Lilith demanded, and I'm going to stomp my foot and demanded that she meet with what she really desired. Because where do our desires come from? If not from our heart? Is that not the most pure, innocent place for our desires to come from? And who says that those desires have to be bad because maybe that has to do with how I feel in my body? Oh, for shame. No! Oh my goddess, this body is amazing. And we were given these millions of receptors on our skin so we could feel this delicious, yummy contact of being touched and touching. Oh, it's so good to be alive. Demand that we meet with what we really desire. What does the life I truly desire look and feel like? Ooh. I am the voice of my body and soul. I am the voice of my body and soul. I am the voice of my body and soul. I am the voice of my body and soul. Say it with me. I am the voice of my body and soul. I am the voice of my body and soul. I am the voice of my body and soul. This body, your soul needs this body. Your soul does not have a body on its own. It cannot go and perform miracles and do the things that it wants to do on this planet without this body, without this vehicle, this beautiful temple. Oh, and when you embody your soul, every step you take is stepping in sacred spaces. Every word you speak is speaking in holy, sacred scripture. Wow. Just like Lilith, that power is like, yeah. My plant on the other side of this computer is named Lilith, and I do have a lily tattoo. I love Lilith. Mm, mm, mm. Okay, how's that feeling for everyone? Demand, love that demand for what we're not asking docilely, like, oh please, like, hey dad, hey please dad, can I was a good girl, I cleaned my room, I brushed my teeth. Bleh. No, demand. I am a creation of divine sovereignty. I have this divine, sovereign, free will to act in my I am presence and claim what is mine. Own it, demand it. Ooh, incarnation, incarn, Latin for in meat. Oh my God, I love that. Thank you. Oh, I love learning etymology, where words come from. Thank you, Britta. That's so beautiful. Lilith freaking rocks. Yes, she does, Cindy. Oh, thank you, Lilith. Oh, yes, Jenna. Thank you, Lilith. Oh, okay. The other archetypal goddess that showed up. I don't know this one very well. So we're going to meet her. I'm going to meet her for the first time today. Oh, and her page is 108, which I love. One of my favorite numbers. Because one, it's this very auspicious number. And in all cultures and religions, if you Wikipedia 108, you'll find every major religion, not major, every religion has 108 in it somehow. And for me, mala beads, I don't think I have any. Normally I have a mala bead right here. Oh, I do right here. Mala beads have 108 beads on them. It's a very, very powerful number, auspicious number. My personal favorite meaning behind 108 is that we're all one, we're all nothing, and we're all infinite. I mean, just sit like that doesn't make sense. Logically, your brain goes, it doesn't make any sense. But when you sit with it, it's like, I can find truth in all of those. Yes, and I'm a human having a spiritual experience, and I'm a spirit having a human experience. Yes, and. Okay. All right, so the next goddess archetype that is going to help us through the shadow aspect eclipse season is Miao Shan. Now, if I'm saying her name wrong, I would love for someone to tell me how to say it right. The Princess of Mercy. I love how we've got some yin and yang, right? Here's this dark, and then I look at all this light. Like, I'm going to demand it. This is what I want. And then compassion. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The Princess of Mercy. Giving is receiving. The energy of the universe is merciful. And one of the things I've been really saying a lot in my sharecast and also in anytime I teach is like the universe accepts all. The universe accepts all, rejects nothing. The energy of the universe is merciful. And when we take lesson from the universe, from the earth in general, when Mother Earth reigns, when she gives water, she also receives it. Oh, okay. Do you know am I saying her name right? Britta, I'm assuming that's you, Miao Shen. If I'm saying her name wrong, if you can spell it out for me, I would love to hear the proper pronunciation. She's beautiful. Miao Shen represents the incarnation and fulfillment of mercy. She was a Chinese princess who is believed to have lived during the Tang Dynasty, 618 to 907, and to have been an incarnation of the goddess Kuan Yin. Oh my gosh, that's so funny, because when I was pulling the cards, I was like, oh, I really feel like Kuan Yin should come out. But I didn't get her cards. Her cards did not call to me. Well, we have the reincarnation of Kuan Yin, Miao Shan. Or Shen. Okay. She was the daughter of a king who wanted her to marry a wealthy man in order to secure more wealth and power for himself. And she must have called on some Lilith energy. When she refused Lilith energy, the king sent her to live in a monastery on a secluded island off the coast of China. When the king found out that Miao Shen had transformed the barren island into a paradise, he got so angry that he ordered the monastery to be burned to the ground. But when Miao Shen saw the monastery in flames, she pricked the tip of her tongue with a hairpin and magically summoned a storm that put out the fire. Wow. I'm being reminded of the story of Thecla, which she was also an apostle of the Savior, which was also decreed to be destroyed. All of her writings were decreed to be destroyed. And the story is in here. She saved herself 3 times. One time she did call down a storm. She was on a pyre. They were burning her. Fire was lit, and she made the sign of the cross and saved herself. Storm. She also baptized herself. That's why they destroyed her writings, because women can't lead spiritual communities and save themselves and baptize others. Only men can do that. All right, the king then ordered Miao Shen's execution, but no blade or sword could kill her. Instead, each weapon shattered into pieces before touching her body. Oh my gosh. Well, and like there's this tiger. I'm like, is Thecla a reincarnation of Miao Shen and Kuan Yin? Because they had tigers. They sent tigers in to kill Thecla, and the tigress ended up laying down at her feet and then defending Thecla by all of the other wild beasts that came into the arena. Like, seriously, these stories are so cool. Similar. After several attempts, a gorgeous glowing white tiger appeared and spirited Miao Shen away. The tiger took her to meet Yama, the ruler of hell. Miao Shen, interesting. Not to heaven, to hell. The underworld, the shadow aspect. I love when readings go like this. Miao Shen immediately heard the suffering of the souls all around her, and one by one, she liberated them with the fierce power of her empathy. Wow. Yama had to send Miao Shen away because she was transforming hell into heaven. Oh my God, that's hilarious. He gave her the peach of longevity as a gift. Miao Shen meditated for many years on the island of Putuoshan. News reached her. Oh, this is a long one. That the king was on the verge of death and that he needed the eyes and arms of a person without anger in order to live. Miao Shen gave him her eyes and arms. The king was revived and came to honor the person who had saved his life. When he saw that his savior was Miao Shen, he fell to his knees, humbled by the extent of her mercy. Because she could have been like, sucker, die, and suffer. Like you treated me. Not the golden rule. Nope, love, mercy, compassion, empathy. When your soul selects this card, mercy comes from the old Etruscan merc, which means exchange. Mercy is the embodiment of compassion. It can feel easy or even natural to have compassion for people who have never harmed us personally. But mercy is having compassion for someone who has, which includes ourselves, by the way, BT dubs. We are our own worst critic. Mercy requires that we give something of ourselves, which is symbolized by Miao Shen giving her eyes and arms to the king. It can feel like a great sacrifice to be so giving towards someone who has given us nothing but suffering. Here's where the magic comes in. The law of the universe is merciful. The more we give, the more we receive. Okay, but like little asterisks here, because we as a women in whole and society collectively have been taught that that's our worth. Our worth is in what we give. And so we become the martyr. We become the victim. Let's just make sure everybody else is okay before I take care of me. Because that's what's holy and sacred and right and true. No, she claimed who she was. She wasn't going to marry someone. She claimed who she was. She claimed herself and owned who she was, and then gave of herself freely because it felt good to her, not because she felt like she should or was the right thing to do or it was expected of her, but because it felt right. It was that compassion and empathy and love. The more we give, the more we receive. When the king realized the profound act of mercy his daughter bestowed on him, Miao Shen transformed into her true manifestation as the 1,000-armed Kuan Yin. Miao Shen is a reminder that giving is the true receiving. When we refuse to release our anger towards someone, we're blocking the flow of the universe within us. It's like that whole drinking poison and expecting our enemy to die. That's not very smart. You're holding that pain within you. Just let it go. Forgiveness also doesn't mean that what they did was okay. It just means I'm not going to be defined by it anymore. You're not going to be controlled or shackled to it anymore. Victimized, martyred, all of those words. I'm going to free myself. When we refuse to release anger towards someone, we're blocking the flow of the universe within us. We are not harming the person who harmed us by remaining angry. We are keeping ourselves from receiving the love and light that is already ours. We're blocking ourselves from our own light. Who can I give mercy to in this moment? So as we are, especially this card reading is about our shadow. How can you give compassion to yourself a little bit more? The shadow that you're going through, me resisting and wanting to control. I'm gonna try to control. How can I be more compassionate about myself? Oh, you know what? Because I learned that as the family dynamic that I was in, this codependency, if everybody else is okay, then I can be okay. So I got to control my external environment for me to feel safe internally. Which is totally opposite. And my sweet little innocent young self did not know. My parents did not know. I've had this conversation with my parents. They were innocent. They didn't know they were doing that. They were doing the best they could. This is not pointing fingers and blaming because that keeps me in victimhood still. This is me going, oh, I see we were all innocent. We were all doing the best we could. And now I can have compassion over myself and go, okay, little inner Jenny, little inner child, it's okay. We don't have to control outside anymore. You and me, we can be good together. And then wherever we go, we are safe because we are loved, we are held, we are respected, we are honored and revered. Oh, that's true freedom. And then it doesn't matter what's happening out here. I can totally release control. And then there is nothing to resist against. Giving is receiving. The energy of the universe is merciful. And my come to Jesus talk that I share in my Sharecast a little bit, the inspiration that I got from the guides when I was like, okay, now that I'm done with my release and claiming and calling and all that fun stuff, I was like, okay, what information do you have for me? And the phrase, receiving is believing. And it can be switched. Believing is receiving. Okay, how does that feel? Shen means spirit. Ooh, I love that. Giving and receiving the rain. Oh, so beautiful. Shen means spirit. Oh, I love learning where words come from. I think is one of my favorite things. I looked up 3 different words today. I'm like, etymology of. Let's break this down. Yeah. Okay. All right. So what is the archetypal energy that we need to call in? We've got Lilith and Miao Shen on our sides. We're calling in their collective consciousness and energy. Now, what is the overall energy that we need to help us through this eclipse shadow season? The siren. The siren. Oh! I just want to sing. XVI. Right here. I. I don't know Roman numerals because I don't care. I don't care to know them. I'm just learning where to find them in my book. The siren. Look at that beautiful ruby. The mermaid tail. The siren, the temptress, the seducer, the femme fatale. I love this energy. Oh my gosh. It's talk about Lilith energy, right? And Scorpio. Scorpio, femme fatale is total archetype for Scorpio energy. Okay. The siren calls, which is also the deep depths, right? Scorpio, water element, the deep, dark depths of the ocean. And the siren song pulls the sailors into the ocean and drags them down into the deep, dark depths of the ocean. The siren calls and the world spins. What we thought we wanted pales in comparison to the sweet allure of her song. We find ourselves lost in a spell of desire and longing, perhaps even lust. Whether the thing calling to us is ultimately good or bad is something irrelevant. Doesn't matter. It's the journey that matters. Okay, so this is really interesting. This concept of good and bad, right and wrong, left and right, up and down. Right? If I go so far north, I'm going to end up south. If I keep going west, I'm going to end up east. Right? If I go so far into my shadow, I'm going to find the light and end up in the light. If I go so far into the light, I'm going to catch up with my shadow. Like, it's the same. It's all the same. It doesn't matter. If you go deep, dark, down and in, you're going to end up out. If you go out, you're going to end up back in. Because the whole, like, the Kybalion, as above, so below, as within, so without. Doesn't matter which way you go. Just keep going and you're going to end up home. I love this. Oh my gosh, I love this so much. Oh, so whether the thing calling to us is ultimately good or bad, it's irrelevant. It's the journey that matters. And the work of the siren is to take us on a deep psychic descent. Following her song, we go down, down, down to a place where lessons are learned and courage must be rallied to find our way back to dry land. Try as we might, right? Because if you go all the way down into the ocean and you just keep going down, you're going to hit solid ground and then you're going to end up on the other side, which is dry. Try as we might, resisting the call may not even be an option. Here's the thing. It's going to start soft first. And it's just going to be these little whispering, this little fluttering. And then it's going to get crazy. It's going to start knocking. And then it's going to start pounding. And then it's going to start throwing shit. And then it's going to start busting shit down. And then it's going to start like semis and anvils and crazy divorces and upheavals, children acting out, losing a job, infrastructure cracking, complete weird unknown diseases in the body. You guys, this epidemic of autoimmune diseases where we think our body is fighting against us is a total fucking lie. I'm like, if I'm triggering you, good, question that, because that belief is keeping you holding on to that lie. These untruths are keeping us sick because we're not following our siren's call. We're resisting it. Hi, resistance. Yep. We're resisting it. And so we keep getting these messages thrown at us. And the more we resist it, the harder it's going to hurt. And so, like, surrender to it. It's a power you have no control over. Like, there's that control word, resistance and control. Look at me channeling my answer for everyone. You're welcome. And thank you. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, I'm going to go back and listen to this again. So good. So good. It will only hurt to the extent you resist it. Only to the extent you try to control and become who you think you're supposed to become by ignoring who you know you really are. Demand what you desire. It is a worthy desire to have. You are worthy of it. It is time to go after it. No matter what the world has told you that it is not what you're supposed to do. It's not how you're supposed to be. It's not how you're supposed to act. It's not a goal that even logically makes sense. Go after it anyway. Otherwise, you're going to be sick. You're going to be in pain. You're going to struggle. You're going to, wow. I'm all fiery right now. And we're not even in Aries anymore, but it is my moon. So I can tap into that whenever I want. Okay. And if you trigger me, if I triggered you, let's talk. Like, let's have a session. I'm so down because I am so sick of this, like autoimmune disorders. And then like your body fighting against yourself. No, that is a fucking lie that I'm so sick of hearing. Your body is so divinely intelligent. It heals itself. Doctors just don't have the science to know why you have this thing yet, because it has nothing to do with physical. It is all spiritual. You're not following your purpose. You're not living your passion. You're not giving yourself permission to be who you are meant to be. And that's why you're sick. That's why it feels like your body's attacking you. It is time to step into who you are, and your disease will disappear. I cannot make any claims. I have to say this because it's live. I can't claim to cure, treat, prevent, diagnose, blah, 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 blah. But fucking A, let's have a session. All pain is just resistance. Yes, yes, yes. I love the 3 yeses. We are supposed to be who we are. Love what we love. Shine that light. It will only hurt to the extent you resist it. Damn, Jenny, just dropping gems this morning. Thank you. Woo! Loving this. Okay. All right, back to the card. The siren is to take us on a deep psychic descent. Following our song, we go down, down, down to a place where lessons are learned and courage must be rallied to find our way back to dry land. Try as we might, resisting the call may not even be an option, unless, like Odysseus, we bind our hands to the mast of our ship. Quit it. Don't do that. Free yourself. Free yourself. Free yourself. It's likely, though, that falling for her call is the only way we will come to live more fully on the surface. Yes. And we're going long today. We're going over time, but stay with me. When light awakened sensuality. When light, the siren call, is awakened sensuality. Don't be afraid of your sensuality. It is your magic. It is your medicine. It is what created everything on this planet. Came through this pussy portal. It is your magic. It is your medicine, your sensuality. And it isn't always about sex. That's where like it goes wrong. That's why sex is deemed so bad, is because it's like, but it's not always about sex. Your goals, your dreams, your visions for the world should turn you on. Like, oh, yes. Feeling so full of life, so excited, like orgasming energetically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Yes, yes, yes. Bring it on, world. When you're living in your magic, like, oh my God, this is my life. I say that all the time. Oh my God, this is my life. Oh my God, this is my, it just feels like an orgasm all the time. And not like physical orgasm, although that happens quite frequently too. Like when I'm just talking to people, it's like, whoa, oh my God, this is so amazing. You guys, it's possible. It is so possible. And I'm going to talk about it. And I'm like, part of my brain is going, shut the fuck up, Jenny. Don't tell people that. They're going to think you're crazy. I am crazy. I'm crazy amazing. And you can have this too. Does your life turn you on? Do you get like wet with desire for going after your dreams, your goals, your hopes, your visions? And even shadow work is like so delicious. It's like, oh yeah, let's just dig this shit. Let's open this up. Let's like dive into this pain. It feels so good. Pain and pleasure, same end of the opposite ends of the same spectrum. Where does pain and pleasure begin and end? Like hot and cold, right? Where does hot end and cold begin on this spectrum? Everybody's different. And there's even this thing called the orgasmic birthing movement, where every contraction feels like an orgasm. Oh, and then there's those kinky people like BDSM. They get turned on by being whipped and handcuffed and pinched and poked and burned. Like that pain to them is pleasure. So the only difference is what you tell yourself here. When light, the siren is awakened sensuality, absorption, arousal. When dark, wickedness. Ooh, that's evil. That's bad. Shun, shun, shun. Red letter A. Oh my God. I'm not married, you guys, and I'm living with my man, and we have some good times together. Am I a sinner, or is that the most sacred thing I can do because it is pure divine love? And it is just an earthly thing of saying, I do. And I've already said that to him. I've committed to him. Body, mind, heart, soul. I just don't have a piece of paper that legally binds me in this plane. This plane is just this plane. Let's see. Embodying the siren archetype requires that we explore things that are taboo. Oh, hello, Scorpio energy. Who are my Scorpios? Where are my Scorpios at? Especially my Scorpio moons. My daughter's a Scorpio moon, and we can talk about some deep, dark shit and just giggle. Oh my gosh, it's so amazing. The siren laughs at convention and constraints. She eats rules. Nom, 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 nom. Oh my gosh, it was like me and my rule about time and dates and numbers. Like, I just don't care. I just laughed. Oh my gosh, it felt so good to just eat that rule and be done with it. Like, woo, I'm done with that. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, go back and watch the replay. Other iterations of the siren archetype include the nymph, the mermaid, and the fairy. They often come in sets of 3 as a trinity of temptation. Ooh, temptation into the dark depths. Oh. Oh my God, I love this card spread. Okay. Thank you for joining me today. Ooh, your husband's a Scorpio moon. But lust, what says lust isn't holy? Because awakened sensuality is not the same thing as lust. It's freaking holy. Sensuality is holy. But why is lust not? Just a question for contemplation. Because I have also been taught that lust is not holy, but isn't like lusting after the desires of our heart one of the most sacred, holy things we could lust after? Oh, this thing I desire so much. Oh my God, it's going to be so amazing when it happens. Is that not a sacred and holy desire to lust after those things? Mm-hmm. And also like coffee. Oh my God, this human delight, cake, chocolate. Oh, lusting after that is that, and indulging in it. And I used to think, we had this really interesting conversation last weekend at a birthday party about the word indulgence. Because in my brain, it's a bad thing. It has been. We talked about it. And like, I'm starting to see it as this beautiful thing, because indulgence and lust kind of like hand in hand for me. And it was like this, like, who says indulging is bad? Why is that bad? Because indulging is like, can be like the most delicious, decadent thing that this human form gets to experience. And guess what? When the human thing experiences this indulgence, this decadence, this lust after this other thing, the spirit also goes, oh yeah, that feels good. And it's like this, like go after that thing, go after that thing. It's your heart telling you, go after that thing. Lust is juicy and awesome. Okay, everyone. We went a little over time. I'm a little excited today. Apparently I'm a little worked up. And there's a lot of really beautiful things to contemplate. Lilith asked some really beautiful questions. Miao Shen was telling us to have compassion for ourselves. And then the siren's call is beckoning. It's time. Like the archetype energy for this shadow is like, go after it. Follow that siren's call. Follow it. Stop ignoring it. Stop pretending it doesn't exist. Stop acting like it's a shameful thing to go after, and go for it and just see what happens. Surprise yourself. I think you'll be genuinely surprised. So I love you all so much. Have a beautiful day. Namaste. Oh, if you want to learn more, Lilith, your Lilith placement in your zodiac sign is a really powerful thing to look up right now too. especially because we call the Lilith card, but because we're in shadow energy. And check your Scorpio placements. This is something we do in our Tuesday night class, Soul Connection. We talk a little bit more about these different placements and the energy that's happening in the cosmos and how it affects us and what we can do about it. So if you want to check out our Soul Connection class, that's Tuesday nights at 6 o'clock online. Or you can, if you have a membership, you can look at all of the past recordings that we've done too. We've got lots of really fun inner child healing, ancestral healing, going through all of these fun things. So, okay, I love you guys. I'll drop links here in a little bit.